Welcome, Math 234 students. It's 12:32. I'm ready to go to bed. But I feel like I owe you guys a bit of an explanation. And instead of writing an extremely long and boring email, I thought a video would be nicer. Um, I guess this kind of all starts with a bit of a story, right? As many of you have either noticed yourselves or heard from friends or seen on Piazza or whatnot, there was an issue with the formula sheet. And so we realized this sadly about 15 or 20 minutes into the exam that there was this issue. Excuse me. And we got it fixed. But sadly, once the exam had been generated with that bad link for the formula sheet, it was just stuck there. And kind of, unless if you somehow exited out of the exam and came back to it and stuff like this, it was just broken for the entire exam. And when this happened, it naturally split the Math 234 students into three categories, right? Three categories, which again are different. So the first one is certainly for the students who printed the formula sheet. There are some students, right, it was asked on Piazza and all this sort of stuff, that it's certainly allowed to print the formula sheet, so long as you show it to the webcam as part of your scrap paper, just to show that the formula sheet hasn't been altered, that's certainly allowed. And some people preferred that. Right. And so a good number of people fell into this category where the fact that that link for the formula sheet didn't work didn't really influence their exam taking experience. Right. So that was kind of the first category. The second category of folks are those students who realized that there was this issue and decided to leave the exam. So they shut down the lockdown browser. They came to my Zoom help session, let me know about this technical issue. And this is when we were able to fix the problem and get the exam up and running. And those people were able to rejoin the exam with a formula sheet link that worked and everything. We added some time to the exam because a setting in D2L, unfortunately, is just that whenever you leave the exam, your clock continues to go down. And so the only thing that seemed fair would, right, instead of giving those people only like 50 minutes or 40 minutes to do it, right, we added some time to the exam to account for that. And then finally, there's those students who just kind of stuck it out, who the formula sheet didn't work for, but they just said, well, I'm going to try my best and hopefully something happens on the back end to make things all right. And so I guess before, I go into what all we're going to be doing and whatnot, I first want to say I'm deeply sorry about this. I mean, this is my fault, 100%. I was in charge of making the exams work correctly. We used the same system with the formula sheet over the summer. It worked wonderfully. I copied the exams over from the summer into the fall and tested it and everything. It seemed to be working. And lo and behold, here on exam night, something changed. And I'm not exactly sure what. You can trust me that I become a lot more paranoid. And before all of our exams, probably the hour before or so, I'm going to be checking things and making sure that everything is working perfectly. But yes, certainly, I know that this adds stress to an already stressful situation. Exams are stressful, and certainly this was never our intent. And we want to do everything possible to make it right for everyone. We want to be fair as possible to all Math 234 students. But of course, right, there are these three different groups, and kind of, again, we want to be as fair as possible. We don't want to naturally advantage or disadvantage any one of these, groups of students. For those who stuck it out, and they came to the right. I tried to catch as many as possible. I sent out an email, I posted on Piazza and whatnot to come and meet me in the Zoom session, right? And let's take care of this tonight, essentially. For those folks, right, we gave the following offer. We said that if you felt that you did all right, that you didn't need the formula sheet, that you did, as well as you would have with the formula sheet, then you should just take your score, right? And that will be that, and great, right? But if you felt like, you were relying on that formula sheet and that you were disadvantaged by not having that formula sheet, well, then that's not really fair, right? You should have an opportunity to take the exam with the formula sheet. And because there hadn't been really much time that passed or anything like this, like these folks didn't get an extra opportunity to study more or anything like this, we said, if you want to retake the exam right now with the formula sheet, right, now that we have it working and everything like this, that seems reasonable. Again, the exam chooses from, right, not only do constants change, but, problems change and stuff like this. We pull from question pools and all that sort of stuff. And so it's unlikely that they just got the exact same questions or anything like this. So those folks, we offered an opportunity to retake. But right, we're not doing anything fancy, right? They'll have 2 submissions for the exams, but we're not like averaging the 2. We're not taking the highest of the 2. Again, we think the fairest thing is that everyone should be able to take the exam once with the formula sheet, and that should be their score, right? And so if those folks happen to choose to take the exam another time with the formula sheet and they end up doing worse, well, that's again, right? You don't have to retake it. I said, if you thought you did perfectly fine without the formula sheet, then that should, you should probably just leave it alone, sort of deal. But again, if you think that the formula sheet could help you, take the retake, sort of deal. So we tried to catch as many people as possible, but I know that, and kind of one of the reasons why I'm putting out this video is that I know that there will be some people who didn't have the formula sheet, which of course, right, we can verify, because if you had it, right, you should show it to the webcam and everything in the startup. So, right, they didn't have the formula sheet. And then they didn't get the email for whatever reason, or they didn't check Piazza. I know I've talked to a few people who are in these weird situations. I had one person who had to go to work right after the exam. I'm not sure, maybe they were on break or something, but they had to go right to work. And so they couldn't take the retake tonight. I had another student who had a maybe physics quiz or something like this. I had a student who was kind of celebrating the fact that the exam was done and may have tripped and, injured part of themselves or whatnot. And so I had to deal with that. And so I know that there are a variety of situations where kind of you can't necessarily retake the exam right away. I hope that this is a relatively small set of students. But if you are in this category of students, please send me an email. I do want to offer you a retake, but the problem is, I mean, whenever there's significant time passing, right? I know students talk and all this sort of stuff. We've been at this for a while. I know that there's some academic integrity things. And again, we want to be as fair as we possibly can for everyone, right? And so an alternate version of the exam needs to be created with different problems, new coding, and all that sort of stuff. And so this will take a little bit of time. But if you're in this category of students who, again, didn't have the formula sheet, think that they could do better with the formula sheet, and would like to take an alternate version of the exam at a later date, again, with the lockdown browser and all that sort of stuff, please send me an email and I'd be happy to help set that up. You should do it. Send me an email no later than next Tuesday, let's say. So next Tuesday, we need to at least have something on the books. After that, that's going to be, right, a significant amount of time has passed after that. And so, yeah, then maybe you need to use your drop. But yes, please let me know sooner rather than later if you want to set up a makeup exam. And I'd be happy to help out with that. But again, it's going to take us some time to code more problems and all that sort of stuff. So the earliest that we could probably do this would be on Monday or so. Excuse me. All right. Those are the big things. Of course, I'm sure that there are still many other lingering questions about specific problems, about grading and all that sort of stuff. And that's not really the intent of this video. I guess I'll say that we still have dreams anyway of being able to grade this over the weekend, at least for those students who took the exam and submitted it and all that sort of stuff. We still have dreams of being able to do that. So hopefully over the weekend, we'll be able to start releasing some grades for the exam. But again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me. Please post on Piazza, all that sort of stuff. And, let me know about your situation. Again, we want to be as fair as possible to all the Math 234 students. So I don't want to give you an advantage, but I want to make sure that you're not disadvantaged either, and try to come up with a good solution that works for everyone. So, okay. I hope that this was a little bit better than an email. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.